Hi all. Right, you may have noticed there's not been a video uploaded in a little while, and although originally I'd said I was going to take things slow, I really got into it and was posting more than I was when I was doing the German solo. So, um, and unfortunately, I should have been posting a bit more, and I got kind of clogged up with a few cuts of videos. Found a couple of mistakes, tried to fix them, creating other videos, put bits in, took bits out. Um, I eventually put it all together last night in two different versions, and I wasn't happy with both of them. Um, and then while, while I was looking over it again, I found another error of a similar type to what I had already done, and that just threw me. That just took it too far from me. So I've decided to redo this from what the last part you've seen. Now, there's not been any combats in it, so this is why I'm doing it. If it had been more complex than that and been chips pulled and combats and dice rolled, etc., there has been a few dice rolls. I'm going to explain what I think I'm going to do with that. But there hasn't been any combats, so the chips haven't been adjusted. So I've put things back to where we were. Now, I've got two cards left. I'm going to make the exact same moves as I had done, even even though I see them as rather poor moves after seeing what the Germans have done. But obviously I need to stick by what I had done because I do know what the cards are coming. Basically, I'm just trying to redo it all, finish off the day in the way it was meant to be. Now, I've made die rolls for the army objectives for the 5th Panzer Army and the 6th Panzer Army, I think, got moved. Now, I'm not going to mess about with the die rolls, so I'm just going to tell you where they're getting placed. I'm not going to roll dice again in case it moves them and in case it might alter some of the movement of the of the German unit. So I don't want to mess with that. There's also 2 or 3 attack determinations. Now, they were really low odds. They all failed. I think that's maybe 2 or 3. They all failed. If they're the same, I've still got the video footage there. If they're exactly the same units doing the exact same determination, I don't want to mess with that as well. So I'm just going to tell you that that's a failure. This is what I rolled when I checked it before, right? If for some reason there is an alteration to the units that are adjacent to an allied unit, then I will do a new dice roll to see if there is a change. So if it's exact same, I'll just tell you what dice I rolled, and like I say, they were all a failure anyway because there was no attacks went forward. But if there does seem to be a difference, I will roll a dice again, and hopefully that doesn't screw things up for me. I know it's rather messy all this, but to be honest, I think when you're watching what I had, it was just going horribly wrong and getting worse. And I'll mention the errors because there was some quite fun parts about it. I was criticising some things within the AI. No, maybe not criticising, but saying, "Oh, I wouldn't have done it that way if it was me." Blah blah blah. But the AI is like that way, and then I realised the AI would have been doing it if I'd been doing it properly. So it just shows you. So I apologise to Mr. Butterfield within one of the videos, but well, you can accept my apology here, Mr. Butterfield. But that's about as best I can do, I think. So going to go ahead with that, and I'll mention some of the things that maybe did happen, and I'll tell you the daft things that I had done. I've also had a few comments back from Martin regarding what's happened maybe in the 5th and 6th part of the 17th. So I'll maybe just quickly go over them because I'd put them into the video, and obviously that's all going now, so we're starting from scratch. So I'll just mention them quickly. Okay, one of the first things Martin brought up, and by the way, if for some reason I have mentioned these before, because I'm getting a bit like not sure. I did just double check and I haven't. This is on one of the videos that you're not going to see. So, but if I do happen to mention something that's been mentioned before, then I can only apologise. Right, so it was regarding my. Now, this was from the 15th. Sorry, the part 5 of the 17th. And then made 2 comments. And I replied to them, so you maybe seen the notes. And it was regarding deploying these 2 units as reserves. And I was thinking that this one could be deployed strategically, so it had better range of where it could move to. But because this one couldn't, and it was part of the same division, I kind of thought that they had to be deployed normally, within 3 of a core unit, and etc. with all the other restrictions. But like Martin pointed out to me, and it's pretty straightforward. If you think about the units coming in together, then that's where you can get caught out, because they don't. They've got to come in on the same hex, but they don't actually come in together. They come in separately. So all you do is deploy this unit first, and because it can be deployed strategically, it can go wherever it's allowed strategically, and then this unit automatically has to just join them in the hex. So if that happens to be not strategically, it doesn't matter. He's got to join them in the hex. So that was a bit of a dolt. I should have realised that, and I made that comment to Martin. So thanks for that one, Martin. Right, next one. The next thing he mentioned was about me moving this unit into here. And this has been catching me out still, and it is. I made further on, it brought things up again that I'm missing. 9.24, the rule in 9.24 is, I said to him, you need to pay a lot more respect than what you think. It's pretty important, and it really almost changes certain movement. It breaks certain movement rules. It's a big rule, and I knew it when I seen it again, because after playing before, I remember it. I remember 9.24, and also 9.21, 9.22, 9.23, and 9.24. They're all quite, but 9.24 you use it a lot, and it's anytime you move adjacent to an allied unit, you then look at 9.24. So and although this unit didn't move, which I think Martin missed, I had a comment saying that this unit couldn't move because he was keeping this unit surrounded. So I think I mentioned all that. So whether he missed that, although it was just in the comments, I think I put it. So I don't think I actually talked about it, or maybe I did. But anyway, I was talking about moving it here and here, and then he said, or did I move it maybe, and then moved it back as a fix? It might have been, yeah. So he's talking about moving there, and he said it would have stayed there because of 9.24, and he's right again, because I'm moving adjacent to an allied unit. So then I look at 9.24, and 9.24 says if you're adjacent to an allied unit and there's an empty hex adjacent to the same allied unit, you move into that hex. So he actually doesn't move at all, he just stays there. But anyway, he was staying there to protect, to keep that unit surrounded. But that was one. But there's a couple more that come up that hopefully I can just quickly talk about. Okay, the next one was regarding the movement unit 304 there. And again, this was a mistake I'd made. And he does mention that I see you ended up within the right hex at the end, but that was only lucky because I had made the mistake and then changed it. We had a unit here, I believe. It wasn't that unit, but I'm just chucking an allied unit in there just to say. And I think this unit was here. And this unit wasn't here at the time because it advanced after combat. And I initially moved this unit with, he was in here, that's right. So I initially moved him with arrows to get his full movement allowance. I ended up with him there. Again, he's adjacent to an allied unit. So with that, there's an empty hex. So he then completes that movement, which I wouldn't have thought as well, but the way Martin's explained it, that does actually make sense, although you could see or you can get caught out with that. So I'm moving that with movement method 10, completed his full movement allowance with the arrows, then we adjust it tactically to say that, he can't go here because he wouldn't be able to reach here. This is an empty hex. but he could have actually reached here, so we tactically adjust it so that he comes in there instead. And that's where he should have been, and then this unit advanced after combat. But, however, I went back and realised that I had now left supply. Oh, actually, he would have been there, wouldn't he? Oh no, we did end up moving him there. That's right, we did. We did end up. So in actual fact, that first move would have been okay. Yeah. So, well, although it would have ended in that hex, not that hex, but however, and then this unit got destroyed. Well, sorry, this unit came down to reinforce the battle. The unit got destroyed, and then this unit had advanced after combat 2 hexes. He was then able to advance because this unit was keeping the supply locked for that. So another wee one there, but I'm glad they brought that one up, because I would never have thought, because I actually even said to him, oh, so what you're saying is, because I've completed the full movement allowance, and I would have to go back to a different hex because of the 9.24, I should then not move the unit with that movement method, move on to the next movement method. And he said no. He said no, you complete that movement and then you adjust the unit. And okay, that's I agree, it is how it is, but that's starting to get a wee bit more complex when you're doing things like that. But he has talked about breaking the rules in certain movement methods to adjust, tactically adjust the units. So that's why that's such an important rule, 9.24. If you ever end a movement adjacent to an allied unit, just stop yourself and go and have a look at that and see if there's another hex that you could move to, even if it kind of breaks. Well, like I say, he couldn't have moved into another hex if he didn't have the movement for it. So you can't go doing that. But if you can move to a lesser hex, or or a different hex that's not as close to your army objective, then you would do that. That's the thing. Okay, better not going too much. Right, let's find another one. Okay, next one. And by the way, that last one and this one, this is part of this is 17th part 6, and pretty sure it must have been Vale Sam here. Yeah, we destroyed the unit. We done some advance after combat. We done some rolls, and rolled three units, an 8, a 9, and a 9, I think it was, and I was advancing on the premise that what was I advancing? I was saying it was into a town. I mean, yes, it is into a town, but it's also a VP town. So that's actually the priority. That's part of the priority into a VP hex. So the rolls that I was trying to do was there was already a unit in there. I think I was rolling looking for a 1 to 3 when I actually should have been advancing on a 1 to 6. But like I say, the die rolls were that high that I kind of got away with that one. So there was no change, but he did bring it up. And yeah, I need to remember that's a VP town, not just a town. It's a VP hex, which gets a higher priority. Right, okay, and the last one was actually back down here, and it's when this unit reinforced the battle, and it was the same thing again. And all I did was look at the rules for reinforced battle, right? And reinforced battle says, if attacking, the unit stack moves adjacent to the hex under attack and may split up. When attacking, a unit is eligible if it's in the same army, right? And then if there's more than one stack can reach the combat, choose the stack that will not be attacking across a river, then the stack that will cause an unsurrounded defender to become surrounded, then the stack with the lowest numbered units. And then units of reinforced do not advance after combat. So it says all that, and it doesn't mention going to an empty hex. And I specifically say that. That allied unit back again. I specifically say that, right, that's how it was, right, and that unit was up there. I specifically say, he's not looking to get to an empty hex. He's just got to ends up being the lowest selector number, which is the unit 1, because this unit was a possibility too. But he would, because again, he's come in, he's reinforcing battle, which is 9.24, still is when you reinforce, when you advance after combat, all these things come into it. So he's adjacent to an allied unit. So if he could end up in an empty hex, he would prefer to do that. So that's what Martin was bringing up again. Fortunately, in this case, this is the only hex he could reach, and there was another unit in it. So he didn't have an option there, but it was because I talked about the fact that, oh, he's not looking for an empty hex. Well, he kind of is. You know, he's looking to become adjacent to the allied unit and then find a empty hex if he can. Or if he's attacking across the river, he's then finding a hex that's not across the river. Okay, so I think that's them all. Yeah, that's 15 minutes gone by and we've not even done anything. At least I know what I'm going to be doing, so hopefully it'll not be too slow, some of us to come. So fingers crossed anyway. So it's on to an allied impulse. We left at that's it. Okay, yeah, just double checking the last part of part 6, and it was actually, I think, fixing the mistake that had been originally made here. So that's as that is. And that was the last. The impulse had been the 5th Panzer Army card. So we've got 2 cards left in our hand. We've got the 5th Corps card and the 12. Zoom out a bit, Grant. 5th Corps card and the 12th Corps card. And like I say, I'm going to do exactly what I've done with them, and maybe mention how bad these decisions were. Although maybe in hindsight, but no, when I look at them, I think not too good. And the Germans have 5 cards left still. Okay, so let's get on with this. Right, so first thing I've done is played this to activate any one unit. Bring the unit out of Houffalize, 1, 2, 3, 4 into Bastogne. And that's basically it. He's marked as activated. We've got 1 card left in our hand, and that was it. Now, something that I could take out of that, I mean, could be hindsight, but I could have got to Manhay there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm saying that, nah. You got to pick between the two if you look at it. These are proximate to Bastogne, these are proximate to Manhay. Bastogne's a 5 victory point. Actual fact, that probably is the right move. So maybe not give myself too hard a time about that. But all this, I feel like I've done something horrendously wrong. And I think did not mention already that these 7th Armour unit, going for the Piper unit, what are you doing, Grant? You know, bring these guys back. That's your strongest, mostly the strongest units you've got. Bring them back and cover some of these victory points. Anyway, well, we'll see how it goes on. It could end up with me getting an early defeat, to be honest, but we'll see. Okay, so that was that impulse. So back over to the Germans now. Okay, so the next 2 cards for the Germans is 80 Corps and 58 Corps. Not primary cards. Both got a command level of 2, but then the lowest card number goes in the command box. So this is a support card. We've got a Bridge Engineers event on this card, so we're going to have a look and see if that can fix a bridge or build a bridge. Okay, so the options here, Bridge Engineer says repair a destroyed bridge or build a new bridge across a river hex side within 1 hex of supply German unit. Both hexes bordering the hex side must be free of Allied control, and at least one of those hexes must be in German supply. German units negate Allied zone of controls in the hex they occupy for this purpose. So, and then to determine where repair or construction occurs, first check for destroyed bridges. So we've got 4 destroyed bridges, that's the red cubes there. So we've got Allied supply, there's Allied zone of control in this hex, so we can't repair this bridge. There's Allied zone of control in this hex too for this bridge, so we can't repair it. If we had a German unit in that hex, that would negate that zone of control and we could repair that one. This one's the same as the first one. There's an allied unit in the hex, so there's no chance of repairing this bridge. This bridge is fine. There's no allied zone of control. We've got German supply to one. In fact, we've got German supply to both of these hexes, so that bridge can be repaired. And I found that a wee bit ironic that the bridge has just been repaired and all the units are across. And if you remember, I think the last few units actually went up and came across this bridge here. The lower units, I think they went up and came across. So it's not really a waste still though, because Germans have got to still consider supply come the 20th, 19th, 20th, whenever it is. And this I always found was quite an important, if any of you had watched my German solo game, this was the sort of route that I took to trace my supply, and it came across this bridge. So it's not terrible. Just would have been nicer for them if they'd got it sooner. And sorry, I got a wee notification there. I added one. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. It didn't come through too loud, so maybe not too bad. Okay, so that's then put the support card. So that goes away, and then so we've no support card left, so we'll just got our next, we've got the command card now. Okay, so 58 core. First thing we can do is activate all units in the core. So that's what we're going to do. Now, this is where I made, I say my first mistake. This is a mistake that broke the camel's back, if you like, because I didn't notice it until right at the end, and it's the same mistake as I made in the Fallen. Is it the Fallen Impulse? I think it is. It's the same mistake that I make in the Fallen Impulse, and this is the one that I noticed the mistake, and I fixed it at the time. But it meant creating another video, doing this, doing that, and it was all messy. And this one I didn't even notice until right at the end, and I thought, well, to fix that, it's... Anyway. Right, so we're going to activate the core. Right, and it's the 5th Panzer Army, so they're army objective markers here. And like I say, I'm not going to mess about. I'm going to tell you what it's proximate, and it's also within 2, so it's got to make a move. So this was its second move, was it? Where have we got? No, this is its... Yeah, this is its second move, yeah. So, I think I rolled something like a 2 or something. But I moved it to, I took note, from Houffalize to Marche West. So this is going from here to, and Marche is the one with that fuel marker on it, which is just on the camera there, I think, just about. Right, so like I say, if I make a roll and it happens to go somewhere else, it just might mess with a couple of things, so it's not a huge big deal, that one. It's still going west. I think it was the most common roll. It was 1 to 6 to get that roll, so it's like higher odds of reaching there. And before that there was no roadblocks adjacent to any of the units. So now we're going to go in and look at the movement methods, and right away we can hit a special move, which is movement method 1. Now bear in mind, movement method 1, they don't adhere to the restrictions in 9.21. They have one little restriction themselves built in. It's movement method 1C that I'm looking at, but the 3 movement methods in 1 don't adhere to the restrictions. So it's movement method 1C, which is enter an empty allied VP hex. Well, both these units can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into man hay, and that's an empty allied VP hex. Not quite trois pommes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're one short of there, but they can reach man hay. So So it's enter empty ally VP hex, move active units each to an empty ally VP hex. This is the only restriction. A unit that begins its move in a VP hex to which ally supply can be traced will only move by this method if it can move to a VP hex of higher VP value. So if these happen to be in a 2 VP value hex and it was an ally supply, they wouldn't make this move. But they don't adhere to any of the other restrictions in 9.21. Okay, so what was my first mistake, and what was the big mistake that I made in the next impulse, and which I noticed? Well, it was just as simple as is the movement checking descending order or ascending order, and Grant just automatically went for ascending order for some reason. Now you'll notice if you look at these movement methods, there's a big mixture between the two. You know, there's quite a few that go ascending, quite a few that go descending. So why I'm not looking at that, I don't know, because I made this mistake in this impulse and then I made it in the next impulse. So I automatically said that, this unit can't, this unit's unit 1. So I'm looking ascending. So he can't reach any VPX, he can't reach any VPX. Oh yeah, he can. So he got moved to Manhay. And there's a mistake because it's in descending order. Now this unit here, unit 24, so that is the same movement points. So it's the highest one, so it goes first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was it. It was as simple as that, making that mistake. Now, detachment markers, right? I end up bringing some wee cubes along, so now he couldn't move in any other way, could he? 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, yeah, he can. So I never noticed that either. He can actually go up this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that makes him. That draws him over 2 detachments. I'm just. Would that be his preferred route then? I think so. Yeah, it says a German unit with more than one route to its destination hex is considered to move along the route passing through HV hexes with the highest total value. So going that way we would only pass through a total of 3, going that way we would pass through a total of 6. Okay, so he hits Manhay, he takes control of Manhay, put that down the bottom, and gains 2 victory points. So he's up to 6. I think that's right. Pretty sure I double checked that one as well. There was a few things I had to adjust. So that was the mistake I made right away. I moved that unit first. So now this could be slightly new territory for me because let's say the units were reversed. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, moved on to movement method 2. And I think I've spotted something else that I actually missed. Anyway, before that, I didn't miss this and talked about it. Because this is unit, now these do go in ascending order. So it's moved to a hex both closer to unit's army objective and adjacent to an allied VP hex. So the talk was about him moving 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So into either of these hexes, adjacent to Bastone, adjacent to a VP hex. But the problem that kept this unit, that caused problems for this unit at first, and we made the mistake, was that this unit moving away is going to. Now remember, 9.21 restrictions do come into play now because we're on to movement method 2. If I move that unit down to Bastone, then ally supply is going to be traceable to this town because it comes up and around this hex. So this unit can't really move away from here, from this area. It seems to kind of hold it there quite a bit because of that. Don't think I'm missing anything with that. It feels a bit odd having such a strong unit, but then there is what is it? The infantry moves that can move to an allied town, or we need something else into this town, and then that can release that unit forward. Or even if we can cut supply for allies here, it can let him move. But at the moment he's stuck. Okay, so next unit we would be looking at would be Unit 2. Okay, maybe... Right, okay, which is that unit there. So give me a sec. Yeah, it does turn out that I've found another mistake that I made, so maybe just as well this all got scrapped. In my defence, well, it's not really a great defence, is it? We're looking at trying a movement method 2, in ascending order, move to a hex both closer to unit's army objective and adjacent to allied VP hex. So anything that's west really, because the army objective is along the west. So looking at unit selector number 2, and well, here's my defence. Look, I'm covering up La Roche here, covering it up with the card. No, that's rubbish, Grant, because 2 can't reach there. It's 3 that can do it. It's the same thing as I'm talking about, but it's units like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can get adjacent to La Roche. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one, actually, did I consider that one? Hang on. Right, yeah. What I talked about is you would have maybe thought that this unit could move adjacent to Trois Pommes and be closer to its army objective. Well, it's not. It's the exact same hexes from its army objective there as what is there. It looks like it would be maybe one closer, but it's because it's going slightly north and the army objective's along at this level. I don't want to move the camera. Exactly the same for this unit. He can stretch up to here as well, but it's exactly the same. And this unit can go up this way to Trois Pommes there, and it's still the same. They're exactly the same hexes. So none of the moves get them closer. But this is the one that I missed, and I believe it was because I looked back in the video, and I believe it was partly because I had the blooming town covered with the card. So he can go, now can he go? He can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and be adjacent. So so there's nothing stopping him from doing that, I don't think. So 1, 2, right, we need a detachment. But that's me out of detachments, and what I start using is, I don't know if you remember, I brought along the wee Terraform and Mars Brown cubes. And if I don't relieve enough detachments to start the next day, I might just replace them with the brown cubes. I don't want to. I'd rather put the detachment markers down, because you know, if a unit's in the hex, there's no a detachment marker anyway, so you can see them clearly. The only places, that was the places, any towns that I've got that are in, zoom out there, you catch that one. I hadn't marked that one. That's a town, but I mean, it's got a control marker on it, so it should tell me that it's kind of the same as a detachment, but so I'm not really sure if it's necessary, but yeah, I kind of wish I had some more of them, but we'll see. We might, the end of the day, I know a lot of them come back, so we might be able to replace these, but I'll just use these brown cubes just now, because, well, I've run out, so that's that. So, right, where were we? So 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's no other better way I can get there with going through other hexes. So yeah, and that is unit selector number 3, because 2 couldn't reach anywhere. No, that's right. Okay, cool. Okay, moving on to movement method 3, which is cause surround, going in descending order. Now, when I done the previous video, a unit did do this, and I did notice it was in descending order, but obviously wasn't switched on to the other ones. So it's now a different unit that's going to make this move though. So yeah, that could be relevant. That's going to require a different role. It was actually this unit that made this surround move into here to surround this unit. At the moment this unit's not surrounded, but this infantry unit, he's the highest, so he can actually go 1 and 2 into here, surrounding this unit. So this is different, so this is going to require me to do another check, because like I say, it was that unit before, when I done it. So I'll just need to keep our fingers crossed for that one, I think. Okay, but I think that's right. Move active non-bracket units each to a hex that, if occupied by a unit, would cause one or more allied units not surrounded to become surrounded. Yeah, and that's the only hex he can go into, and there's no other route he can take. Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, and I don't believe he's breaking any restrictions. So, okay, so we've got 2 more units left. We've got unit number 2 and unit number 1 here, but like I say, I don't think he's going to be able to move because of this situation about holding that town back from Allied supplies. So, right, have a look. Yeah, so we've only got two units left, so we move on to movement methods 10 to 13 because they're not infantry. So, looking at 1 first, he can't move via his arrows because he'd be breaking 9.21D, which is do not move. Doing so would create a condition which Allied supply is traceable to an empty German town. Okay, so he can't do that, and he can't move closer to his army objective. The only hex he'd be able to move to is here, and it's the same amount of hexes. It's not closer. Well, I suppose he could potentially move to this one too, which is just on the camera edge, but it's going to be further away from his objective. So can't do that, can't infiltrate because he's on his own, and then he can't move adjacent to an allied unit because again he's going to be breaking the restriction. So it seems a little bit not great for the Germans, that one, but I think it's right. I think I do need to preserve this supply trace that the Allies will be able to get to that town, even though there's no units there. It does restrict the units, so can't do that one. Right, so unit 2 now, he could well be moving with his arrows, so let's have a look at this. Yeah, he's definitely making a move. So with these primary arrows, he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That detachment will come away. He didn't cross any others, so put that in there just now. But he's now a unit in a hex without movement arrow. Oh no, sorry. Where am I? Starting December. A unit that is not adjacent to an allied unit upon expending its full movement allowance per method 10 continues moving in the direction indicated by movement arrows. So he can spend up to his movement allowance again. So he can move another 5 hexes, as long as he doesn't go through an allied town, a bridge, adjacent to an allied unit, and all that nonsense. So I have to move this out of the way. So this would be 1. Now that's a 5th arrow, so you can't go that way because that's for the 6th Panzer Army. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he couldn't do the 5th point because that would take him into the town. So can he follow another arrow? 1, 2, 3. He could go up there for 4. Yeah, this is the same situation that arose up. So I can either end there for 4 movement points or there for 4 movement points because he can't continue into the town. So I wasn't 100% sure about that one. My guess was that because the primary arrows is preferable, that he would just go by them. So he'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. I've just created another 2. There's no point getting rid of that. There's another one there. That he'd prefer to go the primary arrow rather than the secondary arrow. I guess, yeah, my thinking was that if he could go with the secondary arrow and spend more than the movement points that he spent there, so he spent 4 there, if he was able to go up that way and spend 5, I would think he would prefer that. That's how I would look at it. Going by, yeah, I did look over, yeah, it was Mr. Butterfield replied to something regarding the arrows and basically said you could use a combination of both, and my thinking of that is you can pretty much do what you want with the arrows, just try and get the most movement out as possible, which is probably what you would do yourself, isn't it? Okay, right, let's bash on, get this finished because it's long again. Right, this unit's not going to be able to do anything then. Well, we already came to that conclusion, didn't we? He's moved away up there. Right, I think that feels better. So there was actually a couple of things in there that I had done wrong there. So, right, we're not quite finished, though, are we? Yeah, this could be a snag, but hang on a sec. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to do a determination against this. So this is 4 against 2, and before I just had 1 against 2, so it was and also he gets a +1 for being adjacent to a supplied unit, so it's 4 against 3. So I would have had 1 against 3, so that's a null attack. But 4 against 3 is a 1-to-1 odds, so there is a slim chance that this unit might go into combat. There's no modifiers at all, so let's roll the dice. Right, we've got a 5. Cancel if less than 2-to-1 or only defender elite. Right. Okay, I was hoping it wasn't going to go ahead because that would have caused a bit of trouble. So no, so they don't go ahead with that, and that's the only German unit we had adjacent to an allied unit. So that's that. That's that impulse over. Now remember, they didn't have a support card. Well, they used that for the event. So yeah, so I've got 1 card left. They've still got another 3. I'll tidy things up and we'll get an allied impulse up next, but I better cut this one because some of the explanations at the beginning have also dragged it on a bit, and well, you know me anyway. Okay guys, well, I think this has been better though for you. I'm pretty sure trudging through all that stuff that I tried to fix and whatever. I just hope no more errors come along. I'll need to take a bit more care because they are starting to come in now, the errors, so I'll need to watch. Okay, I better get away just now. I'll be back with an allied impulse sometime soon. I might just chuck this video up as part 7 just to get something, because it's been a while since I put something up, but we'll see. Okay, I'll be back soon guys, cheers.